What is a person's worth? Is it related to their physique, mental fortitude, and profitability? We see this assessment made in the slave houses of the world, where the question of a person's worth takes a dire and direct tone. Here, we see one's value as a relative concept, one where the value of an individual is found in their potential for profit to another. This notion that human value is related to productivity has been a phantom haunting society since its birth. It was forged in the slave societies of antiquity and continues to possess us to this day. Rendering human beings into units of production is a humiliation of the spirit, a humiliation that need not continue and must be corrected to ensure our species and planet survive. The model of human worth is made explicit in the class divide. The rulers of society are afforded the privilege of humanity, while the poor are condemned to endure the hells of poverty. Education, the arts, philosophy, and combat were all fields held in monopoly by the ruling elites of ancient societies, pursuits that explore the enriching of the mind and nourishing of the soul, while the poor are made to labor, either in bondage or for a pittance of a wage. The back-breaking and soul-crushing nature of hard labor produces a harder person, one who finds pride in their struggle and looks down on the decadence of the elite. Each class finds virtue in their labor and sin in the other. Part of the cruelty of seeing humans as units of production is the denial of the soul. The spirit animating the flesh of the human body is felt every waking moment we endure. It is something so deeply felt, so deeply known, that we continuously take it for granted and forget it exists. This is the mortal sin of the determinist. They, in their arrogance, assert the claim that no spiritual element to humanity exists. They go farther and blaspheme against all sense, claiming no choice or free will exists in nature. It would be foolish to claim that all human activity is consciously chosen, but this isn't necessary for free will to exist. The determinist must prove that no choice is possible, and the free will believer need only prove that some room for choice exists and is impactful. A society built on the premise that a person's value is related to their productive capacity is a cruel and soulless one. We are not trapped to this reality. It is not the predetermined nature of humanity. It is fundamentally a choice we engage in as individuals, as a society, and as a species. One that must be challenged and replaced with a system that sees value not only in work, but also pleasure. The enrichment of the nobles and labor of the workers must be alchemically fused to produce a more powerful and beautiful belief that the value of a person comes from the strength of their spirit and depth of their soul. Class has defined perceptions of value since ancient times. Privileges afforded to the nobility were centered around the pleasures of the senses and enrichment of the soul. The luxuries of decadent food, rare gems, and beautiful art pieces all worked to elevate the environment of the ruling class. Creating an environment of separateness is key to the distinction between ruling and ruled classes. From the noble perspective, they're the only truly alive people. The poor are boorish barbarians, untouchables, who are best left to rot in their own filth than touch the elites. The poor, however, are not without their own agency or ability to weave narratives. While they do struggle and toil in ways unimaginable to the elite, there is a pride to be taken in that struggle. The knowledge that one is competent in their trade, strong in body and mind, and humble in spirit. The morality of the lower class finds virtue in their labor and finds sin in the elite's decadence. But pitting these two views of human worth against each other serves to only weaken both groups. Human flourishing is found in the synthesis of these values. In our modern age, where food is bountiful, medicine powerful, and production unparalleled, there is no excuse to preserve these antiquated distinctions. Human beings are entitled to the richness of an educated, beautiful, fulfilling life. The absence of such an existence in the past in no way means it is impossible today. A realignment is required where people see themselves as gardens worth cultivating and nourishing, not merely fields to be sown and harvested. Each person represents a unique opportunity to cultivate beauty. There is only one institution with the power to abolish this class distinction: the state. Through mandatory and free education, the minds of a people can be enlightened and strengthened. Through military and community service, the bodies and spirit of a people can be refined into more healthy and conscious entities. And through mass subsidy of the arts and sciences, we can encourage the flourishing of human creativity. These all intersect to produce a person enriched in mind, body, and soul. Funded by the collection of taxes on wealth and government ownership of certain economic sectors, this is not a pipe dream, but instead a reality waiting to hatch. But is this really a choice we are free to make? Is there such a thing as a soul to nourish, or is this all fantasy meant to mystify us as we move through the motions of life? The determinist view of such things would dictate that we are not creatures of choice. Rather, we are beings of consequence, automatons of entropic decay whose trajectory is fixed and purpose meaningless. The determinist robs the human being of agency and will, leaving them a soulless golem, a homunculus. Determinists will claim no observable mechanism for free will, and in doing so will sadly reveal their lack of self-awareness. In the interest of fairness, a strong argument for deterministic humans is the process of acquiring knowledge. People claim they have the ability to choose what they believe, but do they really? When met with the explanation for why 2 + 2 = 4, the reasoning is felt to click into place. The effort needed to realize this truth is minimal and automatic. It is more accurate to say we are observers of truth rather than judges of it. But can this be extrapolated to the human experience broadly? It would seem that the initial positioning of a person is immensely impactful. It would be foolish to deny the impact of family, location, access to resources, and educational opportunities on a developing mind. But seeing a person as merely their environment neglects the key agent of change, the subject themselves, the human being. Decisions made early in life have immense impacts on our future. This is the horror and beauty of our freedom of will. We are caught in the maelstrom sown by our past and can only adjust the sails, not the wind. Our ability to orient ourselves within a given environmental zone of possible is what defines our free will. The choices may be limited, but that makes them all the more potent. We live moment to moment and day to day, but our mind is trans-temporal. It exists in our past, present, and future. That is to say, we exist across time in ways no object has been observed to do. That is the power of the subject. It provides a discrete frame of reference to inform decision-making. The entire apparatus of the mind is oriented towards the task of determining opportune choices. But there is still something fundamentally mystical about choice. I empathize with determinists. We have no concrete evidence for a mechanism that distinguishes our mind from other species or objects. I personally doubt any such evidence is possible, since our observations can only be done on objects when the reality of choice is fundamentally subjective. It is something felt, not seen. Our ability to understand our souls is limited to the speech we utter describing ourselves and our beliefs. Reflection is the only method of observing the spiritual phenomena of our animating energy, our consciousness. Our ability to manifest our destiny and weave our story is what enables our emancipation. When we think of the value of a person, we often objectify that person to quantify the answer. It can't be helped. The only subject we experience is ourselves. But this illusion of separateness is what blinds us to the possibility of a better future. We are all subjects, each and every human, every animal, every living thing, and likely all matter in the universe. Everything has itself as a reference point for the world surrounding it. These nodes of subjectivity weave a constellation of connectivity that forms our universe. As a human, I know what I want, what enriches my life, what feels wrong and what feels right. I know the direction I want to take my life in and work tirelessly to achieve that end. But I am not ignorant to the environment that allows this development. My education, access to resources, and my health are things largely determined by people in positions of power. The scope of my possible is defined by the environment policymakers and elites have shaped. But I still choose my path within that, and everyone should be afforded the right to a secure and stable life which permits their flourishing. The worth of a person is their potential. Up to now, most of humanity's potential has been weighed in productivity and economic value. We now exist in a time where all can share in the luxury of potential which is unbounded. The unity of will to see this change made must be directed at states to ensure they secure the right of prosperity to their peoples. States represent the manifest will of those who control them. Seizing that institution is critical to the creation of this new world. Do not let others define your worth. You alone can expand into your possible. It may seem impossible to grow. It may be unfair, the conditions imposed upon you. It may feel like there is no hope, but that is never true. Persist, continue, flourish, spite all who would see you rendered an object and rebel. Choose a better world and find a community to serve. Give yourself to the enrichment of life and find your worth. Thank you for watching.